The Vampire Diaries introduced several characters throughout its 8 seasons, and the Mikaelson family members were some of the show's best. The Mikaelsons, also known as the Originals, first appeared in the Vampire Diaries in Season 2 of the fantasy series. Due to how popular the Mikaelsons were, a spin-off show focused on them, called The Originals, debuted in 2013. The Originals ran for 5 seasons and concluded in 2018. The most feared characters in the Vampire Diaries universe, the Mikaelsons were the first vampires in the world, hence being called the Originals. The family not only included the first witch but also the first hybrid, which is a combination of a werewolf and vampire, and a tribrid, a mixture of a witch, hybrid, and werewolf. Given how powerful the Mikaelsons are, it's not surprising that they became some of the most beloved supernatural creatures in the Vampire Diaries franchise. While the Originals are a popular family, there are certain characters who grew as the show went on, who were more powerful than others, and who audiences rooted for, thus, those rank higher. 10. Henrik Mikaelson. Played by Devon Allowitz. Henrik Mikaelson in a flashback. Henrik Mikaelson was Esther and Mikael's youngest child. Unlike the rest of the Mikaelsons, Henrik doesn't become a recurring character in the Vampire Diaries. This is because he was killed by werewolves before his family turned into immortal beings. Despite not getting a lot of screen time, Henrik is one of the most important characters in the Vampire Diaries because his death is what prompted Esther to create the Originals. Henrik's death is also what started the rivalry between vampires and werewolves in the Vampire Diaries. After he died, Mikael, who already hated werewolves because of Esther's affair with Ansel, began despising the supernatural creatures even more. So, while he could only be seen in flashbacks, Henrik had a great impact on the horror TV show. 9. Finn Mikaelson. Played by Casper Zafer. Finn joined the Vampire Diaries cast in the show's 2nd season. Like Esther, Finn was a powerful witch, but he lost his ability to channel magic after he transitioned into an original. A few years after the Originals came to be, Klaus daggered and kept his eldest brother locked in a coffin for 900 years, so he doesn't heavily feature in flashbacks. However, he does appear briefly in the Vampire Diaries and then later in the Originals. In both instances, Finn was hellbent on killing his siblings because of the havoc and violence they had brought upon the world. Finn didn't like being a vampire and could at times be a little self-righteous, which made him annoying. But his somewhat pure heart and good sense of right and wrong made him stand out from the rest of the Originals. 8. Mikael Mikaelson. Played by Sebastian Roche. The characters in the Vampire Diaries faced a lot of antagonists throughout the show's 8 seasons, but none were as formidable as Mikael Mikaelson. Mikael was a vampire who didn't feed on humans but on vampire blood instead. This distinct ability made him an extremely powerful original. Mikael hated his children, especially Klaus, whom he despised because he was a result of Esther and Ansel's affair. What makes Mikael such a great character isn't only that he is a rare and powerful vampire, but also because he is the only one the original children really feared. The few times Mikael appears in the Vampire Diaries and the Originals, his deadpan manner, complex relationship with his children, and vampire hunting abilities make him a joy to watch. 7. Esther Mikaelson. Played by Alice Evans. The Vampire Diaries lore explains how the nocturnal creatures came to be. 1,000 years before Elena, a powerful witch used an immortal spell to create the Originals. That witch was Esther, and she turned her children into the first vampires to protect them from werewolves. However, Esther didn't know that the immortal beings she was unleashing upon the world would be unable to control their lust for human blood. So when she returned from the dead, she sought to kill all her children. While there are several witches in the Vampire Diaries, none are as powerful as Esther. Esther created the Originals, wrote most of the grimoires that witches who came after her used, and wove complicated spells. Her skills as a witch, cunning, and never-give-up spirit made her a force to be reckoned with in the Vampire Diaries universe. 6. Cole Mikaelson. Played by Nathaniel Buzolik. Cole Mikaelson was introduced in the Vampire Diaries as a minor antagonist in the show. Like Finn, Cole was a witch before he transitioned into a vampire. Although he was a powerful witch, Cole had a tough time controlling his bloodlust and missed practicing witchcraft. But he is probably the only original who had the most character growth in the Vampire Diaries universe. Cole spent most of his life hating his siblings. However, he came to eventually forgive them for what they had done and even had a good relationship with Klaus and Rebecca. At the end of the Originals, Cole and Davina got married and lived happily together. While he has his flaws, Cole is undoubtedly one of the best Mikaelsons. His charm, cheek, and innovativeness made him a great character in the Vampire Diaries.